Left my wife after she cheated on me. Years later, she tracked me down to Reconcile. Story 1, it'll be kind of long, but it was quite an interesting turn of events. After getting divorced from Chloe, I was a mess. I had a hard time eating or sleeping. My doctor advised me to meet with a therapist. For the first few mornings, I would wake up and my hand would automatically search for her. It took a long time for me to get over her. For several weeks, I would go to that special coffee shop where Chloe and I used to have our midnight coffees. I really took my time to grieve the loss of my marriage and Chloe. Eventually, with the help of my family and therapy, I was able to move on and start rebuilding my life. I set up my own bundle company. It was a small business, but it was doing well. I was able to hire my old school friend Jeremy, and we were able to recreate the fun banter we had in college. I went on dates now and then, but due to my core trauma, I didn't really get involved with anyone. It's been about 5 years since I divorced Chloe. This Tuesday evening, while I was about to go out for my evening jog, I noticed a car parked outside my house. It was kind of weird because I lived in a secluded area and not many people knew my address. It looked like a nice luxury car, so I thought maybe it was some sales guy or something. A few minutes later, there was a knock at the door. As soon as I opened it, I saw Chloe standing in front of me. I immediately closed the door, but she put her foot in the doorway to block it. I screamed, "What the hell are you doing here?" I pushed her foot out of the way and closed the door. I was thinking about what to do next, a doorbell and a scream. I heard her knocking on the door again and again. "Can we talk, please? I know you're in there." I was starting to lose my patience. She really knew how to annoy someone. I don't know why I opened the door again. As soon as I opened the door, she barged in and said, "I have to talk to you, Justin. We can't do this in the hallway, you won't believe it." I just stood there in utter shock. I mean, this woman doesn't even have the decency to apologize for ruining my life and doesn't understand if I am okay to talk or not. She just barges into my house. "Chloe, I've moved on. I have nothing to discuss with you." I tried to push her out, but she tried to make conversation. I swear I didn't do it on purpose. In a couple of seconds, I realized she was here, not just for any reconciliation, but to clear her conscience. This is what the next day turned out to be most of the time, listening to her distorted version of events. She told me how she had one unintentional lingering night where she wanted to take an exit and finish everything. Hoo boy. Naturally, that exit night turned into several other nights, to heal, and this went on for almost 3 years. Then, finally she fell for this guy, and he proposed to her. So, she thought it was time to come clean in front of Billy. She made it sound like they were head over heels in love, and that she got knocked up a month ago. Chloe also told me that before the wedding last week, she informed Billy about her past, and he became very upset about it. He was so angry that he literally called off the wedding and told her to get out of the house. He even pushed her out of a moving car. She had some nasty bruises on her elbows. She came running to me, hoping that I would give her a second chance. At that point, Billy was right. I told her Chloe cheated on me and made me look like a fool, and at no cost am I going to take you back. I regretted opening the door and wasn't going to waste any more time listening to her. With that, I tried to close the door, but she just barged into my living room. "Please just hear me out, listen to me for a couple of minutes, and then if you want, you can kick me out." It was ridiculous. She was making a desperate plea. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw that she was holding a small bag. I asked her, "What are you doing here, Chloe? You aren't here to stay, are you?" She said, "I have traveled from LA to meet you. I want to settle everything and be at peace. We can ship our stuff later." Just kidding, obviously. The last part was a huge figment of my imagination. I didn't say anything for a long while. I just stared at her. I wanted to make sure she wasn't kidding around and that this wasn't some kind of prank. I wanted to be sure she was serious. "We can start over here. Nobody knows us here." She was living with some relatives in a couple of states away, and her marriage to Billy was supposed to be just a week away. She really wanted to clear her conscience, so right after it all, she canceled her flight and came to see me. She was saying a whole lot more, but I tuned her out. I told her she could stay here for a night, but only if she promised to outline the details of her marriage while I was out of the living room. Yes, I have a huge problem with snooping into other people's business. My only job is to focus on my life. So, she said she would try to give me the real story. I didn't believe a word she said about, "Oh, nobody knows us here, we can start again." She just had her 30th birthday and didn't want to be single when she entered her 30s. I actually believe that because I don't think it's easy to find another guy, especially with a track record like hers. She spent the night with me, no, not in the bedroom kind of way. She was a mess, and on my couch, she slept. I was on the floor, but it didn't really matter. For once, I was glad this woman didn't even think of making a mockery of our past, let alone think of sleeping with me now. The next morning, while I was chugging my cup of coffee, and she was sitting on the couch with her messy hair and knots all over, I asked her what she was going to do with her life. You think Billy is leaving me just like that after knocking me up and after 3 years of a relationship? I already got half of his things. He's not only a lawyer, his dad is a pretty powerful politician. She named him, but sorry, he wasn't important enough, and I'm not wasting my breath on that information. But anyway, yes, she made it sound like this dude really liked her, and that this was just a small hiccup and they would be together soon. Yeah, right, she was here because she was desperate and would have to settle for me. She made every argument that this situation could be salvaged and that dude would be back in her life soon, but she just needed to stay with me until then. I don't know what got over me, but maybe karma really does come back around. So I started crying and said, Chloe, that's all well and good for you, but I was your first, and after we separated, I broke my vow of celibacy. I was unable to move on and did it purposely because of that. You know what happens in celibate people's minds? It can get pretty messed up sometimes. So, I don't know if any guy would be with you after he hears about your past. You only had one guy before me. You were smarter than me and brought protection. So, don't worry, I will take care of myself. Saying that, I pushed her out of the house and said, bye, that was yesterday. I didn't have the heart to watch the news or check my social accounts because people can be really cruel. I could not afford to pay her any more attention. Jeremy was texting me throughout the day, but Chloe didn't have my phone, so I was pretty sure my phone was still in flip mode. I thought she was gone. Oh boy, was I wrong. My phone is missing, and right now I am typing this blog on Jeremy's creepy phone with 30 hillbilly ringtones blasting. Oh, Chloe, please just be a decent human being and pay your own wireless bills. I just need to keep my sanity intact. Update 1: my ex-wife has been living on my credit card and my phone for the past week. I have not been able to pee properly. The reason why I am so broke is that she has been calling up 8 guys a day from the contacts list on my phone. Out of my 1,000 friends, boys and girls, she browses our old pictures, finds a cute one, and then charges it to me so she can appeal to them. Trust me, most of these people have active profiles, are currently living here, and these are not even half of the people who know about the event. She has been texting dudes, emailing them, and then video calling. It primarily was Jeremy, and yeah, my buddy does it all. I don't cheat, honey. I informed her that I am not inferior to her. I left her after 3 years with a lot of respect. How stupid does she think I am to see a partial picture of mine in her face and think, hey, why don't I call this girl up? I did recognize one of the guys from her background in the image. I knew he had a thing with her before our wedding. But when I told her, she got all worked up and said, how did you know? I was stalking likes on FB. Don't be smart. It's such a stupid part of all this. I know she was using me for my phone and everything, but I still stayed put because of the past that I had with her. Keeping my ego level aside, I feel pretty proud of myself. If I try to ignore her, she tries harder to get my attention. If I am mean to her, she comes at me, so I decided to use her for sex, since she is obviously going to need that human touch. Jeremy's love seat is worn out, so sulking is now my new hobby. Billy has called her back. Yes, I got to know, because I was listening to music while she unlocked my jail phone using her thumb. Let me start it from there. So yeah. Update 2: when finally her hand was off the phone, I started playing my music again. After 3 days of ignoring her, she said, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? You know that whatever comes out of my mouth is all BS, so why are you ignoring me? Part of my reasoning was huffing. I said, because I don't trust this guy. We definitely should go visit him, or he should be Ubering to you all. I'm kidding because his ex-porn actress lives next door, so she might just cut in at the right time. That makes sense to you. Besides, you know these things. I don't really mess with a guy with a huge ego. Who do you think he is? Prince of Zekristan. Update 3 June update, sigh. Hudson might have left me to take my husband to the stupid hole in the wall. Now my land is flooded because he broke the pipe, and I need to scrimp and do everything on my own. The Good Samaritan just went back to the States the day before last, and I am supposed to pay for his insurance and house costs. At least he was nice and said he didn't have a plumber in his house, so he couldn't help me. I do realize he only did it for a favor. What else do you expect from a go-to guy? People can only do so much for you out of goodwill without expecting something in return. He was almost kind enough to pay his donations shirtless. That's how you get rid of creepers. Oops, a kind-hearted soul. My violin gush ended there suddenly. Not that I am too good, I understand a little Spanish and Russian, but for some reason I was attracted to the surly guy who didn't want to have a conversation with me. So she was on and on about him while waxing nostalgic, going on and on about his beauty. I did complain. By the way, his ex-girlfriend died in an accident 8 months ago, so she couldn't trouble him much. I'm kidding. I was joking. She doesn't look that much like her now. I don't know, he sympathized with her and seemed to fall for her. The lady at adult photos, a Pornish rose. I just said a couple of curses in 2 days, and I sexted most of my friends. But wow, sexted. Really? I might still let him in my house, but they can't do anything without me around. It seems I needed whatever was left of a life. As the guy was not on good terms with his house, I needed to pay for the blocks that are broken. So I will be asking him to pay to get this fixed. I've got to say, Jeremy, that a primary income cannot stay off his feet untouched. I'm paying for his swimming lessons, like really. And because I was a lot quieter, this dude has suddenly taken a fetish for cutting and hurting it. And when he does it over me, I lay out quiet, as it's soothing to me.